Okay, we'll take a look at the three instruments located at the top of the plane today: the airspeed indicator, the altitude indicator, and the altimeter. Right now at level flight, the airspeed is 90 knots and the altitude indicator is straight. We will now point the nose of the plane downwards, and as we can see, the speed has increased to 110 knots. The altitude indicator has got a straight line up, signifying that the plane is pitched downwards, and there is slight decrease in altitude noted on the altimeter. Now for the final position of the plane, we will point it straight upwards, pitching up above its starting position. And we can now read from the instruments that the airspeed is about 60 knots. The altitude indicator shows a pitch up movement, and from the altimeter we can see the altitude has increased. Okay, so we'll take a look at weight and speed and how it relates to the takeoff distance of the aircraft. We'll use 296 pounds, 600 pounds, and 900 pounds, and we'll compare the results. So first of all, using 296 pounds, as you can see in the top left, after taking off, we get a lift-off distance of 1,210 feet at a speed of 77 miles per hour. We will repeat the procedure now with 600 pounds. As you can see, we're taking off. And I want you to note the top left again, and we get a lift-off distance of 1,660 feet and a speed of 82 miles per hour. This means an increase in both. And then finally, 900-pound payload added. And once again, after liftoff, we see a distance of 2,055 feet and a speed of 86 miles per hour, showing that with an increase in payload, both takeoff speed and distance increase. Okay, so today we'll take a look at how lift influences an aircraft. As you can see, we are starting off at level flight. The green arrows are about the height of the rudder and airspeed is 108 miles per hour. We will now begin a climb for a few seconds, and as you can see, the airspeed is dropping and the green arrows are getting smaller. Finally, we will increase the angle of attack significantly, which results in a dramatic decrease in speed and a huge drop of the green arrows. We have now stalled the aircraft, and we must point the nose down and throttle to gain airspeed, then point the aircraft back up and into level flight. What's up? We'll take a look at drag and how it influences the aircraft. Once again, we are starting off at level flight, our landing gear is retracted and our airspeed is 209 miles per hour. We will now lower our landing gear. Our new airspeed is 201 miles per hour, a decrease of 8 miles per hour due to drag created by the landing gear. We will now repeat this with flaps. Firstly, with flaps down, we observe an airspeed of 190 miles per hour, a wing lift of 2,038 newtons, and wing drag of 134 newtons. Comparably now with flaps up, there is a higher airspeed of 205 miles per hour, the wing lift is smaller with 1,841 newtons, and there is less wing drag of 57 newtons, showing that flaps increase drag. Alright, I'm going to attempt to land this plane with flaps up and then with flaps down. Firstly with flaps up, we run the engine at 1600 RPM and wings level, maintaining airspeed at 85 knots. We use the PAPI system to show us the right approach. It is correct if 2 lights are white and 2 lights are red. Once contacting the ground, apply the brakes firmly. Similarly now, landing with flaps down, we run the engine at 1500 RPM and 85 knots, making sure to be level and apply the brakes in the right moment. Due to the drag created by the flaps, it was easier to ground and halt the plane with the flaps down. How's it going? In this lesson I will focus on the stability of the aircraft. Shown here are the green vector lines and the reaction to me pitching up and down. When pitching down, vectors point down, and when pitched up, vectors increase and point upwards. I will now set the center of gravity to minus 16.4 inches and the payload to 2,798 pounds. The aircraft is quite stable, but maneuverability has decreased significantly and the plane keeps pitching down by itself. The average elevator deflection comes in at about minus 15.4 degrees. To test a high center of gravity, we set it to 21.2 inches. With the same weight, maneuverability and stability have both decreased harshly and the aircraft keeps wanting to pitch up. The average elevator deflection in this case is 0.67 degrees. Lesson 7 is off the ground and it is aspect ratio. I have created 5 planes with 5 different aspect ratios. I have lines 3, 21 and 66 in input and output ticked for information. For the purpose of speeding up this video, I will show the takeoff of the largest and smallest aspect ratio planes. First off is the 50-foot aspect ratio plane, which has been cleared for takeoff by the Seattle Ground Control and becomes airborne after just 357 feet. The second plane, which was taxiing to the runway, is now cleared for takeoff. The 10-foot aspect ratio plane, it stays on the ground for significantly longer, similar to my hopes and dreams, and takes off after 2,585 feet, an increase of 2,228 foot. I have also found the 50-foot aspect ratio plane to be more stable, easier to maneuver, and smoother when landing than the 10-foot. The rest of the aircrafts had the following takeoff distances: the 20 aspect ratio 1,223 feet, the 30 aspect ratio 923 feet, and the 40 aspect ratio 557 feet. Lesson 8 is underway and we will discuss wing loading. We will test out 3 aircraft which have the same wing loading of 16.6 pounds per square foot but varying weight and wingspans. I will measure takeoff distance and comment on stability and landings accordingly. Once again, I have lines 3, 21 and 66 in input and output ticked for information. First off is the 15-foot wingspan and 2,500 pounds total weight aircraft, which leaves the ground after 3,177 feet and a speed of 126 miles per hour. The second aircraft to be examined is the 30-foot wingspan and 2,500 total weight. This one leaves the ground after 1,461 feet at a speed of 100 miles per hour. Lastly, the 60-foot wingspan and 10,000 total weight aircraft takes off, and it does so after 6,947 feet and a speed of 87 miles per hour. Overall, the stability and landings were best using the second plane. It also had by far the shortest takeoff distance but higher speeds than the third plane due to a smaller aspect ratio. Top of the morning to you. Concluding this X-Plane series is Lesson 9 Power Loading. You know the deal, 3 aircraft, takeoff performance, which each having a different power to weight ratio. As always, lines 3, 21 and 66 ticked for info. Let's hop right into the first demonstration with 150 horsepower, 2,500 pounds and a power to weight ratio of 0.06. This absolute unit of a plane leaves the ground after 2,127 feet at a speed of 91 miles per hour. That is the 300 horsepower, 2,750 pound, 0.11 power to weight ratio plane, which comes in at a mighty 2,407 feet takeoff distance and a speed of 114 miles per hour. Entering the runway last, standing at 600 horsepower, 3,000 pounds and 0.2 power to weight ratio, it's plane 3, taking off extremely fast at 203 feet and a speed of 50 miles per hour. Concluding this video, plane 1 and 2 had an okay performance, but nothing compared to plane 3's super performance due to its high aspect ratio and large horsepower. Plane 3 was also by far the most stable and easy to control and land.